about how we can use assessment effectively, okay, in our teaching. So here, okay, when we look at the type of assessments, okay, we have three different types. I think everyone know about this. Okay, assessment for learning, assessment of learning, and assessment as learning. So when we look at assessment for learning is more like formative assessment. Okay, so it's going to be ongoing. We can use this day-to-day basis, and we can use assessment for learning to modify our teaching. And we can use our chapter tests and so on to give specific feedback for students to adjust their learning. And we can use all this assessment, whatever that we can get, to also change the way we teach certain chapters and so on. And when we look at assessment of learning is going to be the snapshot in time of students' achievement. So this is going to be our FYE, MYE, prelim results, and so on. So this is going to be our summative assessment. And we will use this assessment of learning to give report to the students. And when we look at this assessment of learning or summative assessments, they do not have a bigger impact on students' learning actually. So and then we also have this assessment as learning. Generally, this type of assessment will encourage students to become lifelong learners. Uh, they develop the sense of ownership of learning, and then it's going to give them an ongoing self-assessment to achieve deeper understanding of the chapter or the content that we teach them. So if we move further, okay, if we look on how are we assessing our students in BBS. So you can see over there, we do our BMT tests, okay, like chapter test, quiz, MYE, FYE, prelims, projects, authentic assessments, DCA, discipline, class participation, attendance, and then we might have other components depending on the subjects and so on. But these are the generally, when we look at assessment, teachers will always think these are the assessments. But these are more like a summative assessment, okay? And then we can do it much more better, okay? Like for example, if we just use this kind of assessments only, what is the problem? The problem is going to be lack of focus on learning and teaching, because we become too dependent on assessment of learning, and we tend to be overworked because we keep on marking, giving too many assessment, quizzes, and so on. No time, okay, then busy marking, lack of motivation, okay, for both students and also teachers. We are not motivated to learn new information because we don't have time. And then we remain idle. There is no constant improvement in teaching and learning. Everything is done. Okay, during this term, I need to get this number of tests done, this number of quizzes done, and then I need to mark. Okay, so I don't have anything extra. I need to cover the syllabus and so on. So that will be the problem, the no constant improvement in teaching and learning. And then this will lead to unhappiness, unnecessary stress. Okay, so stress for teachers, and also stress for students because they have too many things to focus on. So what we can do, okay, this is going to be how we can use certain assessments, and then also assess them and then give our feedback and so on. So what we can do, okay, we can be creative, okay, we can give immediate feedback. Instead of marking certain stuff, we can give immediate feedback. We can use technology, and we can improve on the transparency and portfolio management. So I'm going to talk about these four things today. So when we talk about this being creative, what does it mean? Being creative, I think everyone knows. I think teachers, we always want to make our lessons interesting and so on. But how we can use our assessment in this way, like for example, by being creative. So we generally create fun activities, fun worksheets, but when we do these fun activities and fun worksheets, keep in mind, you can also assess them while they are doing these fun activities and so on. How do we assess? Okay, just create some worksheet where they need to discuss, where they need to plan. You can see them, okay, in the breakout room, and you can give assessment for that. And the important thing for that is going to be, you need to give them enough time during lesson time. This is one of the problem we face. We tend to give them time. Okay, you have to do this project, and then you are going to do it outside of my lesson time. I do not know how you're going to do it. I do not know whether you're going to meet in the group or something. Just do it outside my lesson time and get it done and submit. Most of the students, they will just meet towards last minute, and then they talk, and then end up maybe 1 or 2 students in the group doing the work and give it to you. Doesn't represent the entire group's work. Okay, what you can do is give enough time. So what I have done is, like, for example, if I plan certain activities and so on, I will set a time. Like, for example, okay, the 20 minutes or 15 minutes of the lesson time today is going to be for your group discussion, and then I will put you in the breakout room, and I'm going to use that time to assess the students. And what we can do, how do we assess the students? How do we give them marks, for example, in this way? So you can use a lot of different type of materials. Like, for example, you can use case studies, problem-based learning, investigation. Be more creative. Sometimes you do not need to even go and develop, like, look for these case studies, problem-based learning. I think based on the knowledge that you have, the content knowledge that you have, you can create some kind of case studies and so on. Let them talk about it, and then make them to share whatever things that they have collaborated. So make them share. Like, for example, include discussions, collaborations. If they can talk, okay, have a live talk or debate, and all these kind of things. When they give us the output, you can also assess them. So you can assess them while they are preparing, and you can also assess them while they are sharing, and you can also assess them at the end product. Let's say at the end, I want you to submit a report. Then there is going to be another form of assessment. So there are a lot of ways where you can assess them. And then for skills, I think it is important for when we want to be creative in assessment and so on. Please allow students to learn new skills while learning our content. I think these skills are very important, and they will appreciate that as well. Like, for example, video editing, animation, acting, rapping. I think I've done one student in the past have done rapping, a rap song for chemistry or something like that. So allow them, but it's not compulsory. But keep the opportunities open so they can submit very interesting projects and so on. This is some examples that I've done. Like, for example, I allow the students to do whatever that they want related to chemistry. You can see the theme is chemistry in daily life during pandemic. So as part of the project, and a lot of times, I think 5 or 7 weeks given for this, and students came up with their own interesting experiments and so on. And they did it with minimal supervision, and most of those experiments are very interesting. And this is individual. So you can see how students, they devote their time to look for information on how to make their own hand sanitizers, and they even purchase their own chemicals from Tokopedia and do it, even though I didn't ask them to do. So there are a lot of things that they tend to learn by themselves. So we just need to allow that to happen. So here I will show you some examples, okay, of certain things that you can do slightly differently. I'll share. So this is going to be one example of a student. They did their project, okay, on eutrophication.
Hello, Dr. Christopher, Dr. Setiabudi. We have a task for you. We would like you to help investigate the soil in this area, as we plan to build several factories here in order to start up a successful agricultural business here.
Okay, sir, I got it. Alright, we'll start by investigating the soil here for ammonia.
Mm-hmm.
is crucial for plants to grow.
Okay, so you can see that the students over here, they have came up with some good, interesting ideas. Like for example, I gave them a worksheet and then told them to discuss, give them enough time, and suddenly they came up with. I told them just come up from this worksheet, from this investigation, come up with a video on how you can represent the entire situation. And the output that they gave is very interesting because they learn a lot of things about animation, how to do that. Even I also do not know how to do that. They have that in green screen over there and get it done. And then when they share, reflect on their experience, all these reflections and so on, you can use it as part of your assessment as well. So I'll show you another one here.
Hello everyone, today me and my group is going to discuss about halogens. So what are the colors of halogen as they go down the group? For fluorine, it will form a pale yellow color. For chlorine, green yellow. Bromine, brown orange. And for iodine, gray black solid or purple vapor.
You can see that okay, we have this students, okay, where they start to share, okay, whenever we ask them to do group discussions and so on. Okay, they did the group discussion, and then you can ask them to give us output. Okay, you submit in form of video, or you present during the class and so on. So that is what certain things where you can use them as form of assessment to check also how far that they have learned. And then this will actually make them to learn those material and content in much more better way. Rather than we give them all the input, the students start to learn themselves. So the assessment is not only giving marks, it's also to assess the students. Yeah, you can tell them, okay, you need to work harder, you need to improve on your content and so on. So that is going to be for being creative. And then utilizing technology, the next part, you can learn how to utilize technology. Generally, okay, you can use AIS, okay, you can use Jamboard, okay, you can use quizzes and etc. There's so many technology apps, okay, you can use Padlets, Google Document, Google Form, Kahoot, Nearpod, Canva. Okay, all these, okay, I think how to use them individually, I think it requires a separate learning. But you can use all these to give assessment. I'll show you one example for Jamboard. So if you have Jamboard, okay, Jamboard is from Google. Okay, you can use them to give assess the students. You can see that there's some assessment, some group assignments given over here. So maybe I'll show you one. Okay, so you can use all these, okay, submissions through the Jamboard, and you can give them marks based on groups, and then you can see. Okay, you can monitor the students while they are in the breakout room as well. So all this, you can use it as part of your assessment. And then for quizzes, okay, generally quizzes is going to be more like Kahoot. Okay, I will suggest to use quizzes because it's going to be stress free. Why stress free? Because our general usage of quiz is going to be more when we give quiz, okay, the students think that, oh, I need to read and so on. But when I think quizzes can be used to assess pre-lesson knowledge. You can assess them while after you teach certain topic as a end of the day assessment, or you can use them while they are at home. Like for example, you just say, please complete this by this weekend. Then that is going to be what we call as something like a zero stake assessment. Okay, so sometimes what I do when in class, okay, let's say when they do the quizzes and so on, then I for those students who get less than 70%, I'll tell them, yeah, you should be getting 10 out of 10. So you are allowed to do for the second time. Okay, so I allow them to do second time, and then I will take the average marks between that two, and then submit, use that as part of my grade. And then this is going to be basically if you use quizzes, my suggestion is use to test simple knowledge and check for basic knowledge only. Do not use quizzes to give exam-based questions over there. So that is not what we want actually. So I'll show you one example here. Quizzes, whenever you use, okay, it will not take more than 5 minutes. Okay, so it just once the students are used to it, okay, they will know what to do. So I'll show you. You can also monitor while they are doing, okay, the quizzes. And then what I normally do after they completed those quizzes, okay, I will go through that quizzes question, and then I will look at the number of students. Let's say, for example,
17,
17,
correct?
correct,
So which of the following is
17,
not
correct.
using
So I will
concentrated
go
nitric
through that
acid? So do
question.
remember
So
nitric
I will
acid.
not go
This is
through
the scene
everything,
where I come
okay,
in,
but
Mr. Gopi.
I will
So
go
you should
through
have
that
actually
question
discussed
over
that it's
there, and you can
explosive.
see here roughly I can go through every questions that I've done. I think in a period of here I recorded for 7 minutes. Roughly about 5 minutes is enough, and the marks of the students are going to be recorded in your quizzes account, and you can use those marks also to assess the students. Okay, now next is going to be giving immediate feedback. Okay, so immediate feedback is very important when we assess our students. Okay, so normally what we can do is we put them in breakout rooms. Okay, allow them, okay, to discuss. Okay, we can only give immediate feedback when we listen. So we need to let them to talk, and then sometimes, okay, I try not to interrupt. Okay, but sometimes I think whenever there is going to be when they are doing the discussion and they reach into a common agreement on a wrong concept, you can always interrupt. And you can normally what I ask them to do is I ask them to share their screens. One person must share the screen while discussing, and I can see what they are doing. And when I give immediate feedback, yeah, just be subjective. You no need to give marks for that. Okay, just tell, okay, this is wrong. Okay, you need to think in this way, and so on. So sometimes, okay, when I notice some students, they don't get involved in the discussion and so on, use WhatsApp to communicate to them. I think that you need to discuss more. I feel that you are not contributing so much. You can tell them. Okay, so we need to comment. Sometimes you can do comment, like if you're using Jamboard, okay, because I like to use Jamboard, you can give immediate feedback as well. I show you how I use Jamboard to give immediate feedback. You can, while they are doing the Jamboard, while they are doing that discussion, you can write down, okay, on their Jamboard, and they will know, okay, when to rectify and so on. They know which one is correct, which one is wrong, and the student will learn immediately. And you can see that here all these are, you can see the annotate, the one that I scribbled over here. This was done during the lesson itself. So I do not bring back after the lesson, I'm going to mark and so on. It's going to be done while the discussion is ongoing, and the students will be able to see, and no need to go through this because they are going to submit this, so they know what is happening, and then we can mark immediately. So you don't need to mark on a separate occasion. So this is another way that you can use to give immediate feedback to the students. Okay, so this is one of the way. Now, so another thing is I would like to encourage teachers to improve transparency. So make everything count, like for example, group discussions, presentations, submission, and so on. And then have this 5 minutes routine, update your grade sheet and so on. Okay, your mark book while the students do discussion in the breakout room. So whatever assessments that you do, yeah, you keep it as a record. okay, and then make it available for the students. What I do is to I share it to in my WhatsApp description. Later I'll show you. And always whenever you have anything that is going to be 10 marks or more, okay, make sure you have clear rubrics for it so that the students know what they are going to be assessed on. So you can see this is one example. So in my WhatsApp group, okay, so I put it under description. So this is after I edited the mark sheet for term 2. So you can see I arrange everything. But when we are doing our lesson, every single time, whenever we do our lesson, the students will be assessed and they know their marks. And you can see some of them are doing 2 trials and I take the average. So so we do all 3 trials and I take the average. So this is going to make them to learn more. So the interest to learn more will be there. Okay, hold on. So this one, I will just share a little bit more on like somewhat immediate feedback that I give. Like for example, okay, 5/5 is your mark. Okay, then you can always tell, okay, I saw Google site, I'm impressed, keep up the good work. Okay, so always keep on giving feedback. And then I can use my assessment, like for example, okay, for this student, you have 6 out of 15. I find it very low. Okay, so you need to work harder. Okay, figure a way to bring the grades up. So we no need to wait until their MYE or chapter test to tell them, yeah, you need to improve. So we know what is the problem. Okay, having second guess. Okay, then give some suggestion. This student, like for example, you can see the CA 76, but I say it could be better. So the student is reflecting. Yeah, I need to focus more, manage things better. Okay, he's been trying to study together with Jordan and Kiara. Okay, so we know. Okay, and then we can encourage them. We can talk about it. Okay, without any assessment, without anything, I don't think so we'll be able to talk to them. So we can use all this assessment, daily assessment and so on, to communicate to them to improve on learning. Like sometimes when we have concepts, okay, sometimes can we mark immediately? Yes, okay, you can ask them to do reflection or short summary. And you can see immediately when the student submitted at 10:19, and I check within 1 minute, 10:20. And then the student at 10:21 say, 1OH, learn immediately. At 10:22, the student corrected the thing. You can see within 3 minutes, okay, all these are happening. Learning and correcting mistakes are happening within 3 minutes. You can definitely do the same. You do not need to sit down for 30 minutes and then mark and then be stressful and so on. So another last thing that I want to share is create portfolio. Okay, portfolio is like your yellow folder. Okay, but now I think because of technology, you can use online technology. So to keep track of students' learning, and then also students can keep track of their learning themselves, and then encourage students to learn on their own and reflect on their own. And you can do whatever that they are doing through that portfolio and take it as assessment. So assessment can be done continuously. So let's say go and update this chapter. So you can use it as a part of assessment. Go and give me a reflection and put it in your Google site. Then that will be another part of your assessment. So it's ongoing. So I will suggest to use Google Sites. It's a very user friendly, and anyone can set up website blog easily. You just need to go through it yourself, and you just teach them once, and the students will figure a way how to get it done. So you just need to go through and then try out yourself first. So what I do is I use all these Google sites, and I used to give remarks, like especially for JC2, I use it for writing recommendation letters. For JC1, yes, writing recommendation letter. All their projects, all their work everything is given in the Google site. And then I can just use this Google site and put it in my recommendation letter. Or whenever I give remarks, it will be better representing that student. I'll show you two examples done by one JC2 and JC1 student. This was done by JC1 student. You can see the student created all this herself. Okay, you can see all the chapters. And you can see she has been updating. Okay, all these are done by her own. So we just tell them and they will do it, and then they have all the information here, and they will be able to revise on their own. So it's by Audrey. So another one that I want to share is going to be by Justin. So you can see this one, when they are doing past year papers, okay, the student have this what we call zero stake assessment. The student mark, okay, using the marking key themselves and putting it over there. So they are going to learn about this. So you can see, like, whenever you want to see, the marks are there. Whenever the student wants to see, okay, the marks and corrections are there. You can see it is by the student itself. So that is going to be creating the portfolio. So the advantages over here is going to be no stress. Okay, the students will be motivated and active learning will be done. And then it is going to be interesting, less boring. You are going to monitor the students. Students will become independent. They will do a lot of interesting stuff. And then it's going to be a better indicator of learning for our achievement rather than just focusing on our normal assessment. So you can see, okay, this student didn't do well in the summative exam, but when I look at all these assessment, the student is better. It's going to be quite capable and so on. So my conclusion over here is assessments can be done in any form and should not be only for record purposes only. And assessments can help students to reflect and learn better. And this is Dylan William. He said by one of the training that Cambridge has organized, he said that more work for recipient than donor. Assessments should be more work for recipient than the donor. Idea of assessment should be the recipient do the heavy work and not the teacher sitting and spending the time to mark everything. So the topic that he covered was assessment for learning in a changing world. So this one is how teachers in UK, when the students come back after COVID, how we are going to give assessment and so on. I've shared this my reflection on Dylan William, okay, in the Google Drive over here. Whenever you have time, you can go through this, and then all these links and all this PowerPoint, I will share it to you so that you can go through this whenever you have time. So that's it from me for today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gopi, for sharing your experience. I believe now we have a lot of ideas. Yeah. For me, especially, I've never tried to use Jamboard, and I think it's quite interesting, yeah, to ask students to build the portfolio using the Google Sites. Thank you, Mr. Gopi, again. And for next week, we are not going to have PD, yeah, and then the following week we are going to have. Okay. Again, if you want to share, please do let me know so I can schedule the session for you. Thank you, teachers, thank you and good luck for today. Goodbye.